Hello, I'm Alan Tennant. I'm CEO of the Calgary Real Estate Board, and joining me is Tom Westcott, our president, and Sarah Johnston, our president-elect. We thought we'd prepare a bit of a video that would maybe explain why we're in support of the bylaw amendments that are going to be voted on April 16th at the CREB AGM, and why we think it's so important to take a hard look at how we apply the three-way agreement in our world on a day-to-day basis, but more maybe on a global approach too. So we've had a lot of interaction with our members recently. We had a town hall on February 8th, and that was interesting. We had a panel discussion. We had CREB President Andrew Peck. We had Corinne Lyle from the Alberta Real Estate Association, and Tom, you were on the panel. And despite a crazy blizzard going on, we had a really, really good turnout for members.
It was a fantastic turnout. We'd had the started the I Say Yes campaign earlier, sort of wet their whistle for it, and got a bunch of information out to them. And this was their opportunity to come in person and ask some questions. Yeah. We got lots of good questions and really a very positive response.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, the I Say Yes campaign as it is was a little bit of a cheeky way to get our point across, to try to get that member engagement, to welcome them into and to get that information on the campaign and on the amendment. And what the three-way agreement actually is, a two-page document that dates all the way back to 1974.
Yeah. Well, in calling that campaign I Say Yes, now I'm speaking to my colleagues across the country, you can imagine creating a member consultation program built around, we think you want this. And that's pretty much what it was. We've been talking, and by talking, I mean via our strategic plan for the last 4 or 5 years, about finding ways to unify, to harmonize, to share services. It came under various approaches focused on the structure that we think needs refreshing, certainly in our province, and we see examples around the country. So that's why we're so invested in this, but more importantly, so invested in the consultation and the conversation being so far-reaching.
Of course, and I mean, our members are really important, but I think I also really learned something. When CREA had their meeting in Chicago at NAR, I was shocked and surprised, sitting and chatting to members of different organizations and boards, how differently they operate than we do, and realizing that the three-way agreement is not the same across the country. There are some organizations that essentially the three-way agreement is null and void because they only have 2 levels of organized real estate.
Yeah, there has been some innovation, let's face it. And it's kind of been beside or around the three-way agreement. And really, as Sarah said, our agreement signed and dated 1974. And when that was a thing, again, you can picture them having a process through 1973 probably, all kinds of meetings. They probably didn't spend a lot of time trying to create a document that would foster innovation. Let's face it, the title said membership agreement. The idea was to strengthen the federation, which is a really key element of this that needs to live on, but they were focused on a membership agreement that kind of tied everything together. And I don't think they contemplated a lot of duplication either. I think it was pretty clear in their minds that each would do their job and stay out of each other's kitchen, which isn't happening, let's face it. There's many examples of that.
Of course, although we've got the three-way agreement, who's doing what in the zoo at the end of the day? This duplication that we're seeing within Alberta, and I've realized that many other people are seeing in other jurisdictions as well. Duplication of services, duplication of education.
The point is more so that we didn't envision that the members would take this as being the race to the exit. And it was a bit surprising to hear that a bit during our consultations. We've also done some virtual town halls. And on most of our discussion forums, when this topic comes up, generally it starts with kind of some puzzlement or some preconceived ideas. But Sarah, you're seeing kind of a consistent theme as they get through the thought process.
Well, and that's right. So as soon as people realize essentially what's happening, this is just a bylaw amendment. This is not a huge change, and while we do have some members that would prefer we go that route, at the end of the day, we're just bringing it back to them to have that choice about how their organized real estate looks.
And bottom line at this point, the question isn't any of this final stuff. It's about creating the option. Because if a member said, stop, no, we don't want this. What were you thinking? Time out. That's it. So, but we're not hearing that message whatsoever.
Well, no, and we've been asking a lot. We've really put it down to our members.
We need support, and we need every board and association to think hard about their decision. If your answer is going to be no, share with us. Tell us why. We need to hear your rationale. Because if you're going home from the CREA AGM happy that this was defeated, I think we need to know why.
At the end of the day, we are all realtors, and we have that connection, and we want to keep that connection strong.
But that's what it's all about, Sarah, is making a better organization for all of us and making sure that we all want to work together and make everything better. And that's why we need your support to vote yes for this amendment on April 16th. Together we can do it.
Yeah, we can.